SCP-811 will periodically voice a grainy, tar-like substance to hunt. It preferentially aims at the face or at any perceived open wounds on its target, then waits for the target to die of either immediate asphyxiation by blockage of the mouth and nose, or waits for the target to die in a few days of multisystemic failure resulting from aggressive bacterial infection. SCP-811 is shaped similarly to a human female. It has disproportionately long and thin limbs and a slightly bloated abdominal region. It is 171 cm tall and weighs just under 47 kg due to its strange physiology. Its skin has slight abrasive properties and is a mottled green color. Because of that, it can camouflage itself among the reeds in its nature habitat. Its sweat has been observed to act as a mild skin irritant. It has extremely oily black hair that has proven to be resistant to cleaning with conventional shampoos. After containment, with the approval of the Foundation, 1D class personnel is allowed to come in with a basin and shower head to wash and condition its hair every day. It has been noted that standard-strength hair shampoos do not adequately clean away the excessive oil in SCP-811's hair, and use of a formula with a higher proportion of stronger surfactants has been authorized. The palmoplantar surfaces of its skin constantly secrete a clear, green-tinted mucus with minor adhesive properties. This mucus does not appear to have any effect on SCP-811's own tissue, but any other organic matter that it comes into contact with begins to rapidly decompose, reducing the matter into a slightly viscous black liquid, but the processes of which is not fully understood. Prognosis and procedure for personnel who have come into contact with SCP-811's digestive mucus is the same as for naturally occurring necrosis and gangrene once the mucus has been washed off. It can then absorb said liquid through its skin and directly into its circulatory system. Tests have shown that its entire circulatory system is filled with liquefied decaying matter. Biopsies taken from SCP-811 have shown the presence of anaerobic bacteria in all examined cells, which, due to the apparent lack of anything resembling functional red blood cells in the subject, are currently presumed to be what SCP-811 uses to metabolize the chemicals in its circulatory system. SCP-811 does not defecate or otherwise produce feces in the traditional sense, and entirely lacks a small or large intestine. Instead, cellular waste and substance SCP-811 is unable to metabolize collect in what is, anatomically speaking, its stomach. SCP-811 will periodically voice a grainy, tar-like substance to hunt. It preferentially aims at the face or at any perceived open wounds on its target, then waits for the target to die of either immediate asphyxiation by blockage of the mouth and nose, or waits for the target to die in a few days of multisystemic failure resulting from aggressive bacterial infection. Its teeth do not seem to have any abnormal resistance to decay resulting from chronic exposure to the compounds and microflora in its waste. Prognosis of personnel who have had contact with SCP-811's waste through a mucous membrane or open wound is good. If broad-spectrum antibiotic therapy is begun in the first 3 hours, but then rapidly declines, personnel who are D-class or have gone 12 hours without getting treatment may request termination. SCP-811 has lungs and teeth, but have no apparent use for either. Therefore, it was brought to Bioresearch Area 12's Radiology Lab for X-rays to examine its internal structure. Results were inconclusive. Subsequent MRI testing has revealed that it has a number of unusual glands and organs attached to its lymphatic system. They may assist in regulation of the viscosity and microbioflora of the material in its circulatory system. One such organ in the abdominal region appears to contain lighter than air gas. Due to the impossibility of maintaining a sterile operating environment, limited understanding of SCP-811's biology, The risk of major complication or subject death has been deemed too high to authorize exploratory surgery. No invasive medical procedure may be performed on SCP-811, unless there are emergency situations in which such a procedure is required to save the subject's life. Minimally invasive procedures require review and anonymous approval by SCP-811's assigned medical team and the current project head. It should be kept in a climate-controlled, cylindrical glass enclosure between 10 and 20 included meters in diameter, filled to a depth of no less than 2.5 meters on average with wetland soil and stagnant fresh water. It is to be furnished with a variety of aquatic plants from its native swamp, as the remaining vegetation there has exhibited the adaptation to regrow quickly from injuries endured during contact with SCP-811, as long as the roots are undamaged. Logs of manageable size and additional humus-rich soil may be provided for its good behavior. Water depth of the enclosure is not to exceed half a meter at its lowest point. Height of the enclosure must be no less than 5 meters above the highest soil point. Temperature of the enclosure is to be kept at 25 degrees, and humidity should be kept above 70%. There is to be a decontamination airlock chamber between the door into the enclosure and the door into the rest of the facility. Under any circumstances, air that is ventilated into the enclosure should not be recirculated back into the rest of the facility. The methane resulting from SCP-811's normal interaction with its environment is not anomalous and may be bottled for use as fuel. No heated elements or open flames are permitted inside the enclosure. The enclosure must be tested daily for pH and microbe levels in both the soil and water, as well as for changes in chemical composition. Enclosure should be cleaned bi-weekly, preferably by D-Class personnel. All discarded waste of SCP-811 should be put in quarantine for analysis before disposal by standard biohazard protocol. SCP-811 is to be given at least 5 kg of live food 24 hours after its completion of its previous meal. Subject is not averse to preying on humans, and it is recommended that personnel not enter the enclosure if it has not fed in over 16 hours. It shows partial comprehension of human language, consistent with case studies of feral children that had been abandoned at a few years old instead of as infants. While SCP-811 is not generally aggressive unless it feels hungry or threatened, all handling personnel are to be cautioned that it's still an opportunistic ambush predator. Therefore, safety precautions must still be taken to avoid possible injury or infection. All personnel entering the enclosure must wear full-body, non-organic biohazard suit and breath masks and must be in group of at least 2. No personnel are to enter the enclosure if they have open wounds or sores anywhere on their body. Without a signed note from a physician with Level 4 security clearance, those suffering from asthma or other respiratory affecting conditions are prohibited from entering the enclosure. As far as research indicates, SCP-811 cannot cause serious injury to anyone properly wearing their biohazard suit. Anyone who removes any part of their biohazard suit while still in the enclosure, for any reason at all, will be subject to disciplinary action. Disciplinary action up to and including reassignment to a project that will not be adversely affected by their status as an amputee. So far, SCP-811's requests for regular feeding of cattle as prey, adding some fish to its original habitat in the water, and putting a turtle in a bioprotective suit, which are not used as food, have all been rejected, but has been approved the requirement to remove the crocodile from the list of prey and provide 100% synthetic hairbrush. All requests by SCP-811 are to be reviewed by both an overseeing animal enrichment specialist and at least one Level 3 personnel before approval. Also, the review should not take more than 48 hours unless exceptional circumstances dictate otherwise. So, that's the SCP-811. But why did she ask for a turtle in a bioprotective suit? Please leave a comment below. I'll see you soon.